All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, as the video title suggests, we are going to be making a tier list over a bunch of fashion related sandals, so to speak. Sandals are one of my favorite pieces of footwear. I just really like how they look casual and you can easily slip them on. I felt like this is the most appropriate time to make the video because obviously outside, the weather's changing, it's getting warmer out, so you can bust out the sandals without worrying about the snow. One thing to keep in mind throughout this whole video is that this is purely my opinion. So take this with a grain of salt. This is not exactly a definitive guide to which sandal is best or which sandal is the worst. This tier list is going to cover a kind of broad spectrum of sandals. So I'm going to include things like mules, clogs, and maybe crocs. I don't know what you would refer a croc to, but yeah, without further ado, let's get into the tier list. All right, so by now, I'm sure you guys know how tier list videos work. At the top, we're going to have S being the best of the best, all the way down to A, B, C, D, and then downright sinful being the worst of the worst. So without further ado, let's get into ranking these sandals. So starting off the list, we have the Aleeks sandal. I don't know what the model name is actually called, but I believe it's probably a bunch of different random numbers, if I'm being honest. These going in sinful right off the bat, starting great. My reasoning for putting these in sinful is because I feel like these were actually a shoe before, and then they just kind of cut the uppers to make it look like a sandal. I'm not a huge fan of that. It's a little bit too chunky for my liking. So yeah, sinful. Next up, we have the Birkenstock Arizona. These are going in S. I actually have two pairs of these. I feel like this deserves to be an S because of its price point, its comfortability, and like general accessibility. You can just walk in any store and kind of just grab them because they're like everywhere. These are typically associated with the Jesus sandals. I feel like they just look good overall, great shape. Yeah, S tier. All right, so next up we have the Reebok Beatnik. I believe these came out in like 2020. Don't quote me on that, 2019 maybe. But these are a great looking shoe in my opinion. I'd put them in B. These are more like the mule looking sandals, and they're kind of transformative. You can actually, I believe, take the back strap off to make it look like more of a slide. But yeah, I've seen multiple collabs with them. I've seen a Story MFG pair, a Pleasures pair, a couple others actually. I think the silhouette's nice, but it's a bit too techy for me, so I wouldn't see myself wearing it, but it's something that I kind of admire from afar. So B tier. Next up, we have the, okay. All right, next one, we have the Birkenstock Boston, the Hidden NY Specials. I have a hard time with these. I have a love-hate relationship with these. These go in D in my opinion. I feel like these are super oversaturated at the moment. They have potential, but I feel like they're just worn in a way that's like kind of uniform, which makes it boring. Typically you'll see them with some denim, a tote bag, etc. So I mean, if I seen these like worn in a different way other than that kind of clone manner, I feel like I'd like these more. I've actually had two pairs. I've had like a wool brown pair and then like a tannish leather. But yeah, I think D is an appropriate spot for these. Next up, we have the Fear of God California sneaker. These are gonna go in, I think they're gonna go in sinful. They're just bad. It just seems very lazy to me. There's nothing really cool about the shoe in my opinion. I feel like it's kind of also hopping on that rubber shoe. I don't know if you guys would want to refer to it as a trend, but the rubber shoe trend, kind of like Bottega, Balenciaga with their trooper boot, Bottega with their puddle boot. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so next up we have the R Legacy Camion Mule. I believe it's what they're called. I'm gonna put these in A. I'm gonna put these in A mainly because they kind of remind me of like an engineer boot. They have the same, I guess, strap that kind of goes across that's featured in most engineer boots, and I'm a really big fan of that silhouette. So I mean, if you like cover the back of the shoe, it's kind of gonna resemble like an engineer boot. So yeah, I'm gonna put these in A. However, if someone were to wear these with shorts, I feel like they would look like dog shit. So if you wore these with shorts, they would go in sinful, but for now, I'm gonna put them in A. Next up, we have the king of sandals, Visvim, with their Christo model. I feel like this is gonna kind of come as a surprise, but like, I'm not gonna put these in S. I'm gonna put them in A. They're a great shoe. I have a pair. I wear them like super frequently. I might need a new pair in the future because of how much I wear them. They come with Vibram, just an overall durable pair of shoes. I've actually made a video going over the Visvim Christo, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link somewhere. Everything about the shoe is just gorgeous. It's got a nice shape. It's got the right amount of chunk too, not too much, not too little. The only reason why it's not an S and it's an A is because of that hefty price point. Comes in around like $700 for like a retail pair. Yeah, you gotta pay to play with this pair of shoes. So yeah, these are gonna go in A. Next up we have is the Sui Coke Depa V2s. These are gonna go in C, I think. Yeah, C I feel like is a good spot for these because these kind of give me like grandpa vibes. I used to want to dress like Tyler the Creator, so I've actually had a pair of these. They kind of accomplish that grandpa looking style, but I feel like these can be utilized in a different way. Yeah, I feel like C is a good spot for these. There's a lot of sock showing. It's more sock than sandal. So I mean, you can like customize how it looks, I guess, based on your socks, which I think is pretty cool. Next up, we have the Gucci Slide, Sinful. No explanation needed. Next up, Hydro Mocs by Merrell. These are kind of hard for me because they resemble Crocs. I hate Crocs. Even the Balenciaga Crocs that Kanye has famously popularized, they're not for me. I just really hate Crocs. But these are a little bit of an exception, so I'm gonna put them in C. I've actually seen a pair of all black ones that look actually really nice. But yeah, I just can't get down with Crocs, bro. They're just so bad. I feel like there's no possible way to make Crocs look good unironically, so, but that's just my opinion, of course. So yeah, these go in C. Next up, we have the, I don't want to say ripoffs, but we'll say cheaper alternative. We got the cheaper alternative to the Visvim Christo, which is the Sui Coke Moto Cabs. These, I'd put these in B. They got a nice silhouette. I believe they come with Vibram, because I know the Depa V2s come with a Vibram sole as well. It's got a lot more strappage, so I feel like these are more technical looking. So if you want a more techie looking one, I guess you can go with these. Obviously the price point is going to be cheaper than the Visvim Christo, so I think these are a great option if you don't want to spend like $700 on a sandal, which is kind of outrageous. So B tier. Next up, we have the Mason Margiela Tabby sandals. So I do actually like Tabby sneakers. I'm kind of on the fence about the boots. These sandals, however, these are trash. These belong in Sinful. I don't know why someone would make these. These are so gross. I don't know what else to say other than that. Yeah, these belong in Sinful. Next one we have is the Balenciaga track sandal. Kind of going along with the Elix one I mentioned previously. It kind of looks like a shoe and then they chopped some of the uppers to make it look like a sandal. Because I know Balenciaga has a track sneaker actually. I'm gonna put these in D. I don't dislike them that much because it kind of commits to that full chunky look, while the Elix one is chunky but like in a bad way. This one is like more chunky, it just like fully commits. This looks like a rock essentially. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in D tier. I'm just looking at the tier list right now and it's like overall spread is it's pretty even. The next one we have is the Rick Owens Tractor sandal. I don't know. I haven't actually seen people wear these. I don't know if these are popular or not, but based on this photo, they look kind of cool, but I'm gonna put them in the same tier as the Balenciaga ones. I believe these share the same sole as the Tractor boots. But yeah, some of the things I don't like about the shoe is just that I feel like these don't look good. Just like overall aesthetically, these don't look good to the eye. I feel like it would look a lot better in a shoe version rather than a sandal. So for that reason, I'm gonna put these in D. Next up, we have the Yeezy foam runners. I'm very iffy on these. So for that reason, I'm gonna put them in sinful. They also resemble Crocs. And as I stated before, I really hate Crocs. I feel like there's no way to make these look like pretty decent. These are more of like a futuristic take on Crocs, I feel like. It just reminds me of Cubone too, for some reason. No hate to Kanye, love that guy. So for the next one is actually another Yeezy type slide. It's actually the Yeezy slide. I'd put these in like C or D, C, D, C, C, D. I'd put these in C. The reason I'd put these in C is because it looks like the California sneaker by Fear of God, but like it's not as lazy. I feel like the open toe and the shark tooth, what do you call it, outsole, kind of adds some dimension and like interest to the shoe, while the Fear of God one literally looks like, it just looks like a blob. Definitely more interesting and less lazy, I feel like, than the Fear of God one. So for that reason, I'm going to place these in C. So yeah, that was it for the tier list. If you guys want to stick around, I'm going to go over my personal sandal collection. And yeah. All right, so I'm gonna make this pretty quick. I only have about 3 sandals in my collection. I don't really know if I'm planning to add more because I feel like 3's enough. Anyways, first off, we have the Rick Owens Arizona. Obviously, it's the Birkenstock collab. You can see by the bottom. Got cow hair all over. And yeah, this is one of my favorite sandals at the moment, and I just got them. So yeah, that's the first sandal. All right, so the second sandal is the Visvim Christo. Obviously, you guys already know. You can see it's almost bigger than my hand. These are my favorite sandals by far. I'm kind of having a phase with the Rick Owens ones, so I haven't really worn these as much. But you can see the bottoms are kind of scuffed. I've actually worn these in the winter. That's why you see a little bit of white stuff. It's like salt and stuff. So definitely my favorite sandal. So the final sandal is actually just a GR pair of Birkenstocks. These are the Arizonas. These were originally like a ginger brown kind of, but I dyed them. Came out kind of looking ass, but I still wear them regularly. They kind of resemble more of a brown now, but you can see it's pretty uneven everywhere. So, and funny thing about these actually feel heavier than the Rick Owens pair, so I don't know if that signifies anything about the quality, but yeah. These are like my beater sandals pretty much. So